All right, I'm in my underwear and it's 1 a.m., but I'm in the mood to predict Carlos Prates versus Ian Garry, the main card of the fight night this weekend. It's a good fight night. It's very exciting. The main event's very exciting. There's some good undercard stuff as well. But I'm going to be going over the main card and predicting every fight. And I'm going to predict correctly. So, we're going to start with Ikram Aliskerov versus Andre Muniz. So the thing about this fight is Ikram Aliskerov is very good. He's very solid. He's well-rounded. He has finishing potential. He has finished many people. He's coming off a loss to Robert Whitaker, and his only other loss is to Hamzat Chimaev. Those are two big names to lose to. On the other hand, Andre Muniz is just losing to worse people, and he's just less good. He's very sloppy. His striking is sloppy on the feet. He doesn't have very well-rounded, crisp striking. It's very hook-centered. He's a grappler, but his takedowns are sloppy. His whole game is very sloppy. Where Ikram, he obviously likes to swang and bang, but he's calculated and he's just good and solid, and he's gonna beat an old man in Andre Muniz at this point in his career, I believe. How old is Andre Muniz? He's got to be old as fuck, right? 35. Yeah, he's old. I think Ikram's gonna throw him around. I think if Andre Muniz tries to take him down, I don't think it'll work. I think he'll get stuffed. I think even Ikram could get his own takedowns if he wanted to. And on the feet, I think it's night and day between these two fighters. I think Ikram's gonna sleep him. I think that's my final prediction in the first round, like he does to many other fighters. A loss to Robert Whitaker is nothing to be sad about on short notice. Robert Whitaker's he's good. And the only other guy he's ever lost to is Hamzat. Those are two very good fighters. I don't take that into consideration when you're fighting Andre Muniz, who's lost to very worse fighters than him. So, next, Randy Brown versus Nicholas Dalby. This is the hardest one to predict on the card, in my opinion, because of the style matchup. Randy Brown is a rangy fighter. He stays on the outside. He likes to stay at range and pick his shots, and he picks them well. He has finishing potential. He's dangerous. He's finished many people. But he also doesn't do super well when people like to pressure him. He's coming off of a decision loss to Brian Battle, but at the same time, he won that fight. To some people, he did. To me, including, he kind of did. But at the same time, I could see an argument for Brian Battle. It's very hard to say who won that fight. But what Brian Battle is a push-forward fighter, but in a similar height to Randy Brown. Nicholas Dalby is going to be a little bit shorter, but he's going to be pushing a pace, to me at least. And he's powerful. Nicholas Dalby has a lot of... It's just hard to say if Nicholas Dalby is going to be able to grit down and push through Randy Brown in this fight. Because Nicholas Dalby is coming off of a decision loss to Renat Fakhretdinov, where that was super competitive, and arguably Nicholas Dalby won and he got robbed. I'm pretty sure it was in Abu Dhabi or some shit, so he got robbed, and that makes sense. You're going to get robbed if you fight a fighter from that region in Abu Dhabi. But Nicholas Dalby did incredibly well, and Renat is, he's kind of showing that he's kind of shit the more he fights. But at the start of his career, he was a fucking monster. And Nicholas Dalby made him hurt. They both have wins over Muslim Salikov. Randy Brown TKO'd him, though. It's really hard to say. I think I might go with Nicholas Dalby to push a pace on Randy Brown. But at the same time, Nicholas Dalby's getting kind of old. He's 40. No, I can't go Nicholas Dalby. That age alone, I think Nicholas Dalby, coming off of a loss, a heartbreaking loss where he probably thought he won the fight. Randy Brown he doesn't have momentum, but I would say he has more momentum. He arguably beat Brian Battle. Nicholas Dalby's getting older. His fights are more damaging to him. I think he's going to be more weathered. I think Randy Brown's going to pick his shots well. And I think Randy Brown will probably win a decision like he similarly did with Brian Battle, but actually win it this time against someone who's 40 years old, who's probably going to be fatiguing in the third round as time goes on. Nicholas Dalby is very good, but Randy Brown does have good takedown defense as well. I want to pick Dalby, but that age thing bothers me when he's been out for a pretty good amount of time. And he weaponizes pace a pretty good amount. So I'll go Randy Brown to find shots and win by decision. But I don't want to. But it's probably the correct prediction. So Randy Brown by decision next. Michael Pereira versus Abus Magomedov. This one's super interesting because this is the battle of the cardio. This is the battle of shit cardios and overconfident fighters. Abus Magomedov is known for being overconfident, having bad cardio, doing pretty good, being good at grappling and pretty slick on the feet, but gassing and resorting to grappling in a weird huggy kind of way in the second and third, at least in my opinion. He's slick in the first round, but he just dwindles in the second and third. With that being said, Michael Pereira is the king of doing so much in the first 20 seconds and then nothing for the rest of the fight. His last fight against Anthony Hernandez was the worst thing I've ever seen as a Michael Pereira fan. He literally had nothing for him after the first minute. With that being said, Michael Pereira, that first minute is dangerous. That is a fucking lethal first minute. And if you are caught in that first minute, you will get knocked out cold. And Abus Magomedov's been finished before. He loves his teeth. He's good at staying rangy. Will Michael Pereira adjust his game plan knowing he just got shit on for 5 rounds against Anthony Hernandez? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say Michael Pereira went back to his camp and realized he has zero fucking cardio and is going to go into this fight a little bit more cautious. And I think he's going to find Abus Magomedov's chin late into the first round. I think he's going to come out slower. This is a full prediction of a full fucking 180 on a fighter's entire style. But I think it's going to be a Ngannou situation where Michael Pereira is going to come in more calculated. He knows he can't just blitz and knock someone out. Even if he does, though, there's two sides to this coin. Even if he does, I think he can find Abus Magomedov's chin. With that being said, second and third round, if Michael Pereira doesn't implement a better game plan, he's going to get tired and Abus is going to piece him up. But Abus doesn't have a good gas tank either. I feel more confident in Michael Pereira's finishing ability. And I think that's what it's going to come down to, is finishing ability in this fight. Abus is good. He could submit him even, but Michael Pereira is a huge Brazilian man, so it's going to be hard. I just like Pereira's power on the feet. He's so dynamic for the first minute if you can just keep it going. Just train a little bit more, Pereira. Please prove me right in this fight. I'm going Michael Pereira to come in as an actual fighter and be able to go to the fucking 3 rounds and weaponize his power in a more efficient way, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go Michael Pereira by first round knockout or early second round. But either way, I think he can win a decision if he really wants to, if he's serious. And I'm betting that he will be. Next, Giga Chikadze versus David Onama. So, David is good. He's well-rounded. He's good. He's powerful. What he is coming off of a win against Roberto Romero, who sucks. He doesn't suck, but he's not elite. He's not, like, great. Roberto Romero gave him a ton of trouble in that fight. He rocked him. Like, he gave him a lot of trouble. And I just don't like the rest of his resume in terms of his wins aren't that good. Like, and his losses, like Nate Landwehr, he's good. Nate Landwehr is good, Nate the Train. But I don't know. I don't like the style matchup with him and Giga Chikadze, who's coming off a loss. But it's to Arnold Allen. That's a fucking good loss to have. If you're going to lose to someone at the top of featherweight, Arnold Allen is not a bad loss to have. And Calvin Kattar. Calvin Kattar is a little bit worse. But with that being said, Giga Chikadze's a slick striker. He's Giga kick. He has good leg kicks. He has good kicks in general. He's a slick striker. He knows how to maintain distance. I don't see David Onama chinning him. I see Giga Chikadze kind of piecing up David Onama. David could chin him. He could maybe outstrike him. I really don't see it. He could try to grapple him. Giga's kind of big for featherweight. I think Giga Jikidze is going to outstrike David Onama in this fight. He's 36, which I really don't like. But how old is David Onama? I'm pretty sure the same. Oh, no. Hey, David's 30. I don't like that. But Giga's just solid. I feel like he's right at the cusp of being actually good at featherweight. But he was so full of himself at the beginning of his career. Or when his career started to get like traction, he was so full of himself. And I think it really detrimented him a bit. But I think he's slick. I think he's good at kickboxing. I think he can find David Onama's face on the feet. And I think he'll chew up his legs. But I don't think he'll finish him, probably. If the finishing potential wise, I would give to David Onama. But I think Giga I think Giga Jikidze has slicker striking. And I think he can find a decision win in this fight against David Onama. 29-28. That's my final prediction. I think Giga's a little bit better. Next, Anthony Smith versus Mingyang Zhang. Ooh, this one's easy. This one's the easiest one to predict on the card. Anthony Smith by flying armbar submission. Obviously not. Mingyang Zhang is a monster. He's a fucking demon. He's powerful as fuck. He's huge. He has the biggest legs of any Asian man on the planet. And he's willing to fucking go in there and throw. Anthony Smith is old as fuck. He has a terrible mindset as well. Anthony Smith has a horrible mindset going into the latter half of his career. He literally went into his last fight saying that he wants to get beat up. He didn't even care about winning. He said this. This is paraphrased. He said he doesn't want to win the fight. He just wants to get beat up because he had like a personal problem with his coach. I think his coach passed away and it was eating him up on the inside and he just wanted to get hit. That's not a good mindset to go in there against Mingyang Zhang. And he said in multiple interviews that he doesn't even care about winning anymore. It's like his final fight in the UFC. Mingyang Zhang has all the momentum. He has all the tools to beat Anthony Smith at his current age of 36. Mingyang Zhang is fucking solid. And I think he's going to be a problem at light heavyweight going forward. And he's so powerful. His last fight was impressive. He utilized his striking so well. And knocked him out in the first round. I really like this. Obviously like this for Mingyang Zhang. Every single one of his fucking wins is a finish. What the fuck? I'm not even joking. Every single one of his wins is a finish. Yeah, he's finishing Anthony Smith pretty easily at this point in his career. Anthony Smith doesn't take damage well. He curls up into a ball against the cage. He gives up more than he would like to at his old age, I would think. Mingyang Zhang's going to chin him, put him out bad. Anthony Smith's been chinned before by Khalil Roundtree, which is not a bad person to chin you, but Mingyang Zhang is a lot more aggressive than Khalil Roundtree. It took Khalil like 2 or 3 rounds to knock out Anthony Smith. It'll take Mingyang Zhang a lot less. Mingyang is not going to be worried about anything Anthony Smith is throwing at him. He's not going to fucking guillotine him. Mingyang Zhang is going to knock him out cold. And if Anthony Smith pulls this off, it's going to be the greatest thing I've ever seen. But Zhang's going to get it done. I love Chinese fighters. They're so much fun. Next, Ian Machado Garry versus Carlos Prates, the main event. Such a good main event. I'm very excited. This is what I live for. Stakes right here. Ian Garry, the least liked fighter in my opinion. One of my least favorite fighters, personality-wise in the UFC, by far, versus a fighting nerd in Carlos Prates, who has all the hype in the world. It's perfect. I love it. And I'm going with Carlos Prates to win. Ian Garry is very good. He's very well-rounded. He's solid. He's coming off of a loss against Shavkat Rakhmonov, but it's not a bad thing. It was short notice, and he almost submitted Shavkat at the end of the 5th, and he did hang in there. If anything, though, it kind of made Shavkat look shit, and it kind of made Ian Garry look shit, and the fight was shit. So I don't know really how to judge that fight when going into this one, when Carlos Prates has so much finishing potential on the feet. His gym is proving to be insane. I'm going to take a lot of details from what I think Carlos Prates is going to do in this matchup from the rest of his team, from the fighting nerds. I feel like that's important, that he is a fighting nerd. What Gene Silva did in his last fight was make incredible leaps and bounds in his game to be able to stuff those takedowns off of Bryce Mitchell after getting taken down so many times against Jordan. Fucking what the fuck is his name? You know what I'm talking about. Gene Silva's been taken down so many times, and he was able to stuff every single one of Bryce Mitchell's takedowns. That's just that gym. Carlos Prates will be able to develop his game. He will be able to get better and just improve overall. And at the point he was at in his last fight against Neil Magny, where he sparked him out cold, that's already a very dangerous man. If he improves, that is crazy. And I think he can, and I think he's going to, and I think he's going to knock out Ian Garry in this fight. Ian Machado Garry. I think Ian has a tiny little head. He's been rocked before by Sankanan. I think Carlos Prates is so slick in the counters on the feet. He knows how to time shots incredibly well. He's the only finish in Li Jingliang's entire career. He's the only one to finish him. That's no like sad feat. That's an incredible feat to have. Carlos Prates is like, I'm glazing hard, but he's slick. We could see Ian Garry fraud check him in the grappling. That is the only thing I'm really worried about. But on the feet, I think Carlos Prates is ahead of him. Ian uses his range well against rangier people, against shorter people, but Carlos Prates is his height and has better reach, I'm pretty sure. Ian Garry has really short arms for his height. Prates utilizes his reach very well. And in terms of what they both did to Neil Magny, they both fought him. Ian Garry couldn't finish Neil Magny. Carlos Prates put him out cold. I really don't like that. I don't like Ian Garry's finishing potential at all. He finished Daniel Rodriguez, but he's an old man. I don't trust Ian Garry's finishing potential against Carlos Prates at this point. I think Carlos has a good chin. I don't think Ian Garry catches him on the feet. I think if anybody's going to be scared of the power coming back at him, it's Garry. I think Prates will be able to walk him down a bit. I think he'll stuff the takedowns. At this point, after what I saw Gene Silva do against Bryce, I think Carlos Prates will stuff the takedowns. I think he'll develop that super good understanding of that takedown defense. They have really good people in their camp. Kyle Bravo is no fucking joke in the takedowns, and I think they train very hard, and they're working hard to get better. I think Carlos Prates is going to fucking make this look kind of easy. And I really hope he does, and I am being biased here because I really want it to happen. Ian Garry is solid, and he could grapple him. But it's short notice for Ian Garry. To be fair, Ian Garry, I hate him so much, but he deserves all the respect in the world for taking all these short notice matchups against these dangerous fucking people. So many people in the UFC now are just waiting and sitting on their ass and waiting for fights, or waiting for title shots, or not even fighting at all, or fighting once a year. Ian Garry is really putting it on the line, and I do really respect him for it. These personalities are what make the UFC great, even if they're bad. Any personality, good or bad, is what makes the UFC great. And Ian Machado Garry is a part of that. And I respect him for it. I still hate him, though. And I hope he gets knocked out. But props to him, because I think he's pretty much putting everything on the line, and I think it's going to get taken away from him. Sadly for Garry, but I think Carlos Prates has too much finishing potential. He's powerful as fuck. He has too many insane knockouts. What he did against Charles Radke was insane. To grab his hand, scream in his face, and then TKO him by a body shot. I think Prates has a comfortability that all the nerds have in the octagon that is intimidating. And Gary's been intimidated in the octagon before. Michael Venom Page made him into a grappling merchant. He could not hang with Venom Page on the feet at all. I think Prates is a little bit... He's not as good on the feet as... I think Michael Venom Page is one of the best on the feet ever. So he's just the most tricky to find. But Prates, I think he has more finishing potential than Venom Page. I think he has better takedown defense. I think he's better. I think he's better than Garry. And I think he'll beat him by knockout. So, I think that's it. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. I will see you soon.